So now your session will be streamed on YouTube and simultaneously on our platform with Vidyadan, right? Okay. So hello everyone. Hello everyone. Today we are coming with a new series of exclusive webinar on Vidyadan, powered by Creative Warriors and an initiative of Media Entertainment Skills Council. So today's exclusive seminar on career opportunities in game development, right? For that, we generally call industry experts, and today we have with us Rahul Sehgal. He's a well-known name in the industry. We are just giving a brief bio for him. He's a well-known name in the industry, and he's been working and associated with the game industry from past 14 plus years. He has experience in shipping games on platforms such as a console, PC, mobile, and browser, and he's also a game development instructor and mentor. His core skill is game design, and he's currently a founder of gamers2maker.com. It's an online game development mentorship and finishing school, and he's been teaching people how to make games more than a decade. So, welcome you, sir, on our platform that is a Vidyadan. So, the session is on to you, sir.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ashishi. It's so lovely to be part of MESC's Vidyadan initiative. It's really great to be here, and I'm so happy that uh, you have taken the initiative to actually share. Can we make this? Can I make it full screen? Yeah. It's lovely to be here. It's lovely to have, be part of the Vidyadan platform so that the message of game development, the message of that the game industry is really growing, is going to be going out to the world, right? This is a really, really important time for game development, and I think it's really, really important that people come to know. And this, so just to give everyone an idea about what's going to happen in this session, I'm going to have a I'm going to have a session, and in this session that I'll be kind of having a presentation, etc. Actually, there are some people who are asking me some questions about where let me just give them the link to this session. Give me 1 second, please.
Sure, sir.
Some people on my Discord server are asking for the link. I just posted on my Discord server. All right. So welcome once again, everyone, to this session on career opportunities game development. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the game industry, particularly in India. I'm going to be talking to you about what the game industry is like. I'm going to be talking to you about what opportunities are there, what different roles are there, because there's not a lot of people who understand what kind of roles are there in the game industry. And also, I'll be talking about the best approach for you to get employment in the game industry, or if you want to get employment, okay, or maybe if you want to start your game studio and you want to make video games, etc. How to get started, how to join the game industry, how to make video games. This is what I'm going to be starting talking about. So I'd be very, very happy to to answer questions as well. So please feel free. Feel free to put it in the chat. Put your questions in the chat, and I will try from time to time to answer these questions, and I will leave 10 to 15 minutes at the end aside for answering your questions, right? So, all right, so I'm going to share my screen now. Let's go. Give me a second. Yes, please let me know if you can see my screen.
It's visible, sir.
ठीक है. एक मिनट बस रहे. Right. Okay. Little bit of okay, game development career of the future. Okay. Awesome. एक सेकेंड लगता है मुझे थोड़ा और yes. Okay, here we are. So now let's go. So I'll talk a little bit about myself. People might say, who is this person who's talking to us? So let me tell you about myself. So I'm the founder of Game2Maker.com. Game2Maker is an online game development platform. We have been operational for 2 years, and I'm really happy to make an announcement that Game2Maker is now the official partner of MESC. We have signed an MOU for 3 years. And we are offering diploma programs, the only partner diploma programs in India for game development, along with MESC. So that's the big announcement that I wanted to make. Right. Next, I'm also the creative lead at a company called Entain. And my games have made 75 plus million euros in revenue till date. Not that I've got the money, company makes the money. Next, I'm also a game design consultant, and I've taught at Backstage Pass, I've taught at VIT Bhopal, and I've taught at Srishti Bangalore as a game design instructor. Right. I myself studied game design at Vancouver Film School, which is obviously in Vancouver, and I've even worked in the game industry over there. And I actually used to be a merchant navy officer, believe it or not. That's my story. And these are just some, logos of the companies that I've founded and I've worked for. Right. Now let's talk about the global games market. A little bit of information to you, because I think it's quite relevant to understand what the game industry is and where the game industry is going. So I'm talking about 2022. 2023 is obviously not finished, right? So as you can see over here, the total market worldwide for games is $184 billion. That's a lot of zeros. That is a massive, massive, massive market, right? Out of which mobile games is actually exactly half. It's 50% of games worldwide are mobile games. Mobile game market has grown and grown and grown. So obviously, as you can see, the biggest is mobile, then comes console games, which is 28% at almost $52 billion, and next around $38 billion is PC games. Now, a quick question to the audience. Let me know where you guys play games, whether you play games. Oh, I can see some people I know here. Panchali, who is in my program. Hi, Magneto Gaming. Hi, Manisha Arora. Hi, Pintu here. Hi, Ankur Kumar. Nice to see you guys. Give me a shout out in the chat. Good to see you guys. So this is an idea of the game industry worldwide. Okay. Now, next, I want to talk about online gaming. So basically, of course, this is a little bit old. This is 2022. I just want to compare games to, for example, music and movies, right? You want to watch Avatar, you go and you watch Avatar, you go and you watch, Lord of the Rings, you go and you watch superhero movies, etc. I think, wow, it's a big market, but look at that. The global revenue from the box office is $43 billion, right? And recorded music that you're seeing is only about $19 billion. So comparatively, if you can see, 196 billion is what was there for 2022. So it is bigger than movies plus music combined. And games is not only big, is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes by, right? The next thing that I want to do is I want to show you a trailer, right? I may need to stop sharing for a minute because I'm not sure if I enabled I'm not sure if I enabled the sound. I'll have to enable sound also. Give me a second. Yes. So, yeah. Yeah, I want to I'm not sure. Can you see my screen? Okay. I wanted to show you some of the latest games. I'll stop sharing and I'll start sharing once again. I wanted to show you some of the latest games which are in the market right now, which are about to, yes, here we are. Right. So this is one of them. You can, for those of you who are interested, you're most welcome to go and see the trailer. The trailer, you can go. You're most welcome to go and see the trailer for Maya Nagari. Right. There are some slightly interesting parts, so I'm not going to share the entire trailer. Right. So, and there's also another game called Raji, which is from India, which is a really big hit. So I would encourage you guys to go and check out Raji as well. It's a beautiful game. It's called Raji. If you'll be able to find the trailer. I just wanted to give you an idea about what the Indian game industry is doing, about what kind of advancements are there in the game industries, right? So these are the two. Have a look at Raji and Ancient Epic, and also look at Maya Nagari. Have a look at these two games, and this will give you an idea of what's going on in the in the game industry. I'm not going to waste time by showing you both the trailers. Okay, all right. So moving on. Now, fundamentally, there are 4 different kinds of game industry roles, right? And I'm going to explain a little bit about these game industry roles. Firstly is something called game design, right? Game design, and then there is game art, and there is game programming, and there is quality assurance. A lot of people are confused about what the game industry is. So I want to shed light on, if you want to join the game industry, what roles are available and what kind of roles are there for you. Now, my belief is, and for Gamer to Maker, my tagline is everyone can make games, which is true. Everybody can make games. Doesn't matter if you don't know how to make art or you don't know coding. You can still make video games. I myself, I'm not an artist. I'm not a technical person. I'm not a programmer, and I still make video games because I'm a game designer, right? Now I'm going to be explaining a little bit about all these roles to you guys. Okay. Hello, Asraf. Manikanta Arts, hello, Chaitanya, Satpute, hello, Nitish, hello. Hi, Asraf. Okay, so game design. What exactly is game design? I'll talk about game design. Game design is fundamentally what is the game, right? What is the game story, etc. And within game design, there are a few roles such as game designer, level designer, mission designer, story writer, and UI designer. Next, you have game art. Within game art, you have 2D art and 3D art. You have character artist. You have something called a concept artist. You have something called an environment artist, and you have something called animator, and you have something called UI artist, right? So game art and game design are separate roles. And even within these roles, there are several breakups of roles. Now, especially in a big company, like if you go to Electronic Arts or if you go to Ubisoft or some big companies in the West, you will have all these roles, and they're all specializations within the game industry and even within game art, right? So what exactly does a game artist do? A game artist is the one that creates the entire look and feel of the game. Game artists create the characters, they create the environment, the trees, the props, the guns, everything that you see visually in the game is created by game artists. They created using software, and then the game programmer is the one that integrates it into the game. Now, within the game programming part, also there are many roles. There is, for example, I'm just giving you a few. There are actually more. There is gameplay programmer, network and backend programmer, and there's a game engine programmer. There's AI programmer. There's user interface programmer. There are many roles, and I'm just giving a few. I'm only giving you a few of these roles over here, right? And there are many roles. Next, you have quality assurance. Quality assurance is the other persons that actually test the game, because big games can, break, and they can have many problems. So the job of the quality assurance is to actually play the game and test the game, right? So once again, quick recap: game design. I'll be explaining a little bit more about after the slide. Game art are the artists that create the art assets that go into the game. Game programming is what is the functionality of the game? If I'm going to press this button, this is going to happen. This gun is going to shoot. If I press the space bar, I'm going to jump, and I'm going to do a double jump. If I click this button on this UI, this menu is going to open. All the functionality of the game is actually created by the game programmers, and quality assurance is the testing. These are the 4 basic roles in game development, right? Now, a lot of people keep talking about this thing called game designing, right? Now, I want to take some time to actually explain what is game designing, right? Now, if you're downloading Unity or Unreal or something, and you're actually just watching some YouTube videos and you're making a game, is that game designing? Or if you're downloading Blender or Maya or some kind of 3D software and you're creating some characters, or you're creating some models or a car or some props or a weapon or something, is that game designing? If you're creating character rigging animation, is that game designing? No, that is not game designing. In fact, game designing is not even a term. So I would not encourage you to even use that term. It's game design. There is no such thing as game design. And I'm going to explain to you what exactly game design is. Hi, Tejas, how are you? Tejas with me, nice to meet you. So what does a game designer do? A game designer asks basically the following questions. Firstly, who's going to play the game? Who is the target audience? Who am I making this game for? Am I making it for kids? Am I making it for like 24 to 40-year-olds? Am I making it for small children? Am I making it for like a male audience, female audience? So it's very important to understand as a game designer who's going to play your game. That's the first question you have to ask. Next, what is the objective of this game? Right? How do you win? Do you kill the final boss? Do you finish all the levels? Do you, for example, complete the mission in a certain amount of time? What is the objective of the game? How do you win at this game? And how do you lose? How do you lose, right? Then what can the player and what can and cannot the player do in the game? Can you start flying? Or is it a game you're only allowed to run? Or maybe you're running, but then if you get a pickup, then you can start flying, right? So what can the player do? What can the player cannot do? What is the functionality? What is the gameplay, right? Next, very importantly, what is the player going to feel? Because you have to realize that in when you're playing a game, you're actually feeling things. Players play game because they want to feel things. They want to feel powerful. They want to feel like they're in a different world. They want to have a sense of accomplishment. They want to have a sense of joy. Sometimes you even have a sense of frustration, because if you're fighting a boss, you're not able to kind of kill the boss, and then you are like, oh my God, I'm so frustrated. But then you finally manage to kill the boss, and suddenly you're like, yeah, that kind of thing. So as a game designer, your job is to create feelings. That's your main job. You have to make a player feel things from moment to moment. That's your fundamental job as a game designer, right? And the game designer answers this question: how can we make the player feel this way, right? That's what the game designer does. The game designer doesn't really do art or coding. These are the questions that they ask, right? And for example, for a free-to-play game such as Candy Crush or something like that, the job of the game designer is to figure out a way of getting players to spend money, right? Of monetizing the game. That's a really important part of it. Okay, so that's what the game designer's job is. Right now, what is the role? I'm going to try and explain the process of a game studio, how it works. Okay, I think the internet went out for a second over there. Hello. Okay, yeah, I think I had a slight internet problem. Let's get back into it. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, I'm just gonna zoom ahead to the relevant slide. Okay, I think we are back now. All right. Okay. So the product owner is the one that decides what is the game, right? You can't just walk into a game studio and be like, oh, this is the game I want to make. The product owner is the one who owns a product, who says, this is the kind of game that is going to be made, right? Next, you have the game designer. So the product owner decides what kind of game to make and then tells the game designer what game is going to be made, and then the game designer actually writes the documentation of the game. The game designer says, okay, this is what is going to be made. The game designer defines what is going to be made. So the game designer creates documentation. The game designer's main point, the game designer's main job is to actually create documentation, right? So anybody in the game team asks the game designer, कि भैया क्या बना रहा है? What are we going to make? And the game designer knows exactly what is going to be made, exactly what, and that is all contained in the documentation of the game. It is called a game design document, right? Through the game design document, the game designer tells everybody else what to make. So the game programmer, the game tester, and game artist are all guided by the documentation and the game designer, who guides them as to what needs to be made. Okay. Next, so what happens is that firstly, the documentation is created, and then everybody starts to create the games, and there is a build of the game. So there is a build of the game, and then this build, once again, what happens is that a small part, like a rough alpha is made, like a rough prototype is made, and then everyone plays that game, and then this game gets more and more complex. It gets more and more polished. The first version of a game looks terrible. Like nobody even shows it to you because the art is horrible, the sound is horrible. It's all buggy. As it looks terrible. No, you'll never get to see that. You only get to see the game usually at beta. So before that, the game build is made on the basis of design. It's like, think of it as a house. Okay, if you're going to build a house, you're going to have a blueprint for the house, right? You're not just going to start like putting bricks and like building your house. You're going to have a blueprint. That blueprint is a game design document, and the architect is a game designer. So then you're going to start building the game, right? And then the big game programmer, game artist, game designer are going to build this. Imagine the same building is being made, and at some point, the basic structure of the house is going to be ready, but it's going to be horrible because it'll just be like brick walls and floor and roof. You can't really live there. It looks horrible. And then slowly, everything will be added: the windows, the furniture, the tiles, the painting, the electrical connections, the ACs, the furniture, everything will be added till the house is ready for you to live inside. So it's an entire process, right? So it's kind of like the same process which is followed in game development, right? Now I'm going to talk a little bit about game design skills. So what exactly are the kind of skills that you need to be a good game designer? Firstly, experience of playing games, right? If you want to be a game designer, it's really good to have a good knowledge of different kinds of games. There are people in my program in Game to Maker who come to me saying, "Sir, I only play PUBG and I want to be a game designer," right? I usually tell them, "No, thanks. I don't think you're cut out to be a game designer. If you want to be a game designer, you need to be a gamer which is playing different kinds of games apart from just one particular game." Okay. So that's kind of really important. Different game of genres, different platforms is important. You should have good reading and writing skills, because obviously you have to create documentation and you have to communicate with people. And the primary mode of communicating with people is English, right? So good reading and writing skills are important. Like, you don't have to be Shashi Tharoor, like with fancy English and all that, but you do need to have some skills. Okay, so tell me in the chat here, guys, which ones of you are interested in game design, which ones of you are interested in game art, and which one of you are interested in game programming. I'm curious to know who's interested in what. So please let me know in the chat, right? As a game designer, you should be able to communicate clearly and effectively. Like I said, you don't have to be Shashi Tharoor, but you have to have some clarity in communication. So Manikanta Art says, "I'm interested in game design." That's awesome. Confidence and presentation, right? So as a game designer, your job will be to actually talk to people, talk to programmers, artists, designers, and explain what the game is to be. So you need confidence. You need to be able to talk to them as this is how the game works. So your confidence and presentation skills are very important. And actually in G2M, in Game to Maker, we concentrate a lot on this, on building confidence and presentation skills. Those are very, very important. Nitish says he's interested in game programming. Very nice. And also, you have to deal with people of different mindsets. So remember that as a game designer, remember I showed you the diagram in which you have to interact with game programmers, game artists, game testers. So everybody has a different mindset. Game programmers think differently. Game artists think differently. So your job as game designer, you have to deal with people of different mindsets, right? So Nitish M says game programming and game design are the second choice, and Arjun Ramesh says interested in game programming. That's great. That's let me see. Oh, you can actually give hearts as well. Oh, nice. I can actually put some comments also. Very nice. Yeah. So you have to deal with people of different mindsets. It's really important as a game designer. Right. Now let's talk about other game industry roles. Even though there is, these are 4 streams, there is something called producer. Now the producer is kind of like the boss of the game. The producer, there is no such role as game director, but there is a role called game producer. So game producer is kind of like the boss who understands what the game is and makes sure that the game is made, the quality of the game is good, and that the game is made on time, right? That the game is produced and released on time. So Drat Boy is interested in game and level design. Prashant Muluk is interested in game programming. That's great. Next, data analyst. You guys believe it or not, these days, data analysis is a huge deal. Data analyst's job is really, really big. Okay, in the sense that mobile games are all data based, right? It's all numbers. It's all like analysis and analytics which are there in the game. And so data analyst job, especially in especially mobile games, is really, really big. It's a very, very important role, and these guys make a very good amount of money. So please be aware of that. Right. Next, you have something called project manager. Project manager is there in almost all. Prashant Muluk is saying game programming. That's great. So project manager is someone who does project. I mean, you have project manager in software, you have project manager even in the construction industry, you have project manager, right? So the project manager makes sure that things are done on time, coordinate between the different parts of the team. Next, you have something called product manager. Product manager is kind of like somebody who is a little bit of a producer and a little bit of data analysis. Now, these are very, very specialized roles, and they're very highly paid roles. In fact, I have a video on YouTube in which I'm talking about all the different roles in the game industry, which are paid really high. And product manager is one of the highest paid roles in the game industry. So Tejas with me has a question. I'll answer that question at the end. Tejas, just let me finish my presentation and then I'll answer all your questions. Okay. Right. Next, we have something called technical artist. Technical artist is a very interesting role. Technical artist is a mixture of a programmer and an artist. So the technical artist understands the programming software such as Unreal, and also understands the art software, which could be like Blender or Maya, right? Because what happens is that assets are created, like characters, etc., created in the 3D software and then brought into the game engine. And a technical artist needs to know both of them. And a technical artist is a role which is very high in demand in the game industry and has very high salary. So if you have good knowledge of programming, as well as basically if you know the game engine and you also know the 3D engine, and you can combine both of the knowledge, you can get a really high paid job, right? Panchali, like I said, I'll answer all these questions. Just keep the questions coming, guys. Whatever questions you have, I have about 12 minutes of this presentation, and then I'll answer all your questions. Okay. Then, of course, you have sound engineer. Sound engineer, again, is a very important role, because sounds and music in a game is obviously very, very important, right? And sound engineers, they really make a big difference to the game. So that is also a role for people who are interested in sounds and music. There's also a place for you in the game industry. Now, just a quick brief about how the company is structured. You have the game studio. How is the game industry structured? First of all, you have a game studio, which is where the production of the game happens, right? The designers, artists, program all work part of the game studio. But then you have something called a product team. The product team is basically the commercial team who decides what to do, what to make. Right. The game studio's job is like, okay, listen to me. We are going to make whatever you tell us to make. The product team's job is to know the market, to market research, find out what games are good. So the product team guides the game studio as to what kind of game to make. They know what's in the market, right? And then they guide the game studio. And then lastly, you have something called a marketing team. The marketing team's job is to sell the game, obviously, because as a lot of you will know that game companies, people who make games, we don't like to market games. It's a pain to be like going out there and releasing a game store and building a community and talking to people and getting more sales for your games. It's not everyone's cup of tea. So the marketing team, a specialized team that actually goes and tries to get people to download the game, buy the game, etc. Right. So generally in any game company, you have product team, you have the game studio, and you have the marketing team. Right. So that is a company as separate from the game studio. Okay. Next, I'll just a quick brief about what the game development process is like. Firstly, normally what happens is that people who want to start building games by themselves, they just download Unity and they just have some game idea in their head and they just start building games by watching some YouTube videos, right? It's okay. As a beginner, as an amateur, that's absolutely fine to do that. But the truth of the matter is that there is a very, very strict process that is followed in the game industry. And unless you follow that process, it's very difficult to get success for your game, because making games is very, very technical. It's very, very specialized things, and it's very expensive because so many people are working on the game, takes a lot of time, etc. So there is a certain process, production, development process which is followed, which I'm going to quickly talk about here. First of all, you have something called pre-production. Pre-production, nothing, the game is not made, right? Conceptualization, if within pre-production, something called conceptualization, which is what are we going to make? What is this, like, what game are you going to make? A shooter or a puzzle game, or are we going to make kind of like a match 3, or are we going to make a MMORPG, or what are we going to make? Like conceptualization. Then is scoping. So scoping means that basically, can we make this game? You have to ask yourself, see, tomorrow you guys can kind of like just say, hey, listen, me and my friend, we are starting game development. We're going to watch some YouTube videos and we're going to make GTA, make an open world GTA kind of game. But can you do it? Probably not, right? So that is scoping. So what can you do is, okay, maybe we can make a simple top-down puzzle game. Right, what they say in Hindi, what they say, औकात, right? हमारी औकात क्या है, right? That is scoping. Scoping is making sure that whatever project you have chosen to make is something that you can actually build. Okay. Next, you have documentation. As I mentioned before, documentation is very important. Always make sure that you build your documentation, you write your documentation, because that's going to be your guide during the game process. If you're going to be building a game without documentation, it's like building a house with no plan, right? In the beginning, you said, okay, I'm going to have a house here and I'm going to have a room here and kitchen is going to be here, but it's all in your head. And then everything goes haywire. So making a game without having documentation is not a good idea. Next, prototyping. So prototyping is basically when you take the main mechanics, such as you say, okay, in my game, I'm going to have this very unique game mechanic in which I'm going to be like running and I'm going to shoot this grappling hook and it's going to go and it's going to attach over there, and then I'm going to reverse gravity and this cool thing is going to happen, right? So prototyping is when you actually code and you actually make a very, very brief version of your game with just the main mechanic. So you can firstly test if it's possible to do that. And then you can also test if it's actually going to be fun. So instead of building the whole game, you build a prototype, which is like a very, very small version of the game, right? Next, concept art. So concept art is basically sketches of the game characters, the game world, the trees, how the game is going to look. So it's not the final assets, just basically quick sketches, right? So once the pre-production is finished, only then in a game studio, the production of the game actually starts, right? This is very, very important. Production of the game starts only after the pre-production process. And this is where 95% of the people, they fail because they don't do any pre-production. They just start building the game, and that's where the game fails, right? Then from start to alpha, you have something called alpha. Alpha is when the game is feature complete. Feature complete means all the coding part is done. All the functionality of the game is ready, but however, the art may not be ready. The game may be looking terrible. You've used some placeholder art. You've just taken something from the internet and you just put some placeholder character. So imagine that if you're building a house, the entire construction of the house is ready, but there are no windows, there are no curtains, there are no appliances, there's no electricity, nothing. Just the walls and the floor and everything is ready. That is alpha. Then from alpha, you have beta. Beta is when all the nice parts of the game are put in, right? When you're putting in the sound, when you're putting in the art, when you're putting in, the animations and all that stuff, the user interface, a nice user interface, you're integrating the RSS. And then at beta, the game looks like it's supposed to be. However, it's still very, very buggy. There are a lot of bugs because at beta, the game may look kind of okay, but it's still not ready to release because it needs to be thoroughly tested. So, which is why a lot of people, a lot of companies, they actually open the game for beta testing and they say, look, it's a beta test. And then, if any of you have ever been part of a beta test, do let me know. Do let me know in the chat. Okay. Manikant, I'll answer all these questions. Just give me 5 more minutes. Okay. Next, you have something called gold. So gold is basically when the game is ready for release, right? And then you have something called live operations. So mobile games, it's not happens that the game gets released and that's it. The game goes on for years and years and years. There are events, there are live operations, there are things that happen. The game is updated. So it's not like the game is released and everyone relaxes. Live ops means that the game goes on and on and on for many years sometimes. Right. Just a quick brief about the game studio. We have more than 500 game studios in India, right? And we have more than 500 game studios in India right now, and most of them are in the mobile game industry, right? 90% is, and there are a few small indie studios which are making PC games, but 90% is mobile. Okay, there are several studios which are game out, art outsourcing studios. You can also get a job in these game art outsourcing studios. They don't make their own games, but they make games as a service. They're service providers, right? There are some studios which do both. Some studios do a little bit of like they make their own games and then they do some work from outside. So they have this kind of combination, right? Next up, there are some which only do client projects, right? And then there's also casino games. So casino games is basically like roulette, blackjack, rummy, etc., in which you play casino games. Right now, most people don't want to join the kind of studios, but it's quite, if you do join these studios, it's quite the salary is quite good, right? Okay. And the big cities for game development, major cities for game development jobs are Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, Chennai, and Delhi. Biggest is, I think, Bangalore and Hyderabad have a lot of game companies, and then you have Pune, Mumbai, and Chennai, and Delhi, right? And the truth of the matter is that the game industry is really growing very, very fast right now, and there is a big shortage in a lot of roles, right? They're looking for good people who can join the game industry and actually work. So there is a shortage of people in the game industry right now. Right now, the next question is, how do you break into the game industry? How do you get a job? Now, the most important point to remember here, and I keep telling everyone this all the time, is that hiring is on the basis of work experience and not education. So you can be a PhD, MSc, MPhil, like you can have any hundreds of degrees in game development from the fanciest school. But if you don't have work experience, like if you don't know the skills, right? When I say work experience, I mean the skills. You have to have the skills. A piece of paper is not going to solve your problem, right? You have to have the skills. You can be a 10th class pass and you can earn 50 lakh rupees a year in the game industry, right? It happens. I've seen it happen so many times. A degree can be helpful because it gives you more credibility. It helps you to get an entry-level job, etc. But fundamentally, hiring is not on the basis of your education or degree. It's on the basis of your skills and portfolio, which I'll talk about a little bit. You need a good portfolio that you can show off your work. So what exactly is a portfolio? In the olden days, artists used to have like a bag which had all these papers inside, and then it was literally like a thing. They would take out one photo and show it to you, like this is my painting, etc. So imagine that same thing, but it's online, okay? And not on Google Drive. Don't make a Google Drive link with all your stuff because nobody's going to see it. It needs to be an actual website. Okay, I'll share a little bit. Also, guys, for all of you, I have my own YouTube channel and I have my Instagram. For those of you who don't know me, I post 2 to 3 videos every week on YouTube, and you can find out details of all these things, portfolios, lots and lots of information about the game industry you can find out on my YouTube channel. So please, just search for Rahul Sehgal on YouTube and you'll be able to find my channel. Okay. Next, a really big part is network. So networking is really, really important because most of the hires in the game industry do not come from LinkedIn or job posts. They all come through referral. So people who are already in the game industry, they are going to say, okay, guys, we need to fill this role. So call my friend who used to work with me in that company, etc., etc. And that's how it's going to be done. right? Next, I want to say, how do you learn, right? A lot of you may be questioning, how do we learn skills? How do we acquire skills for game design, game programming? So on YouTube and e-learning courses, etc., like Udemy, you can learn tools, right? You can learn how to use Unity. You can learn how to use Blender. You can use how to use Photoshop, etc. You can use tools, but what exactly to do with these tools? How to how to kind of build those skills? It's very, very difficult to do that through free content. You need a mentor. You need somebody from the game industry who's going to help you out and inform you. So your progress will be much faster. You'll take a long, long time to learn from YouTube, and you're learning through mentorship program or a structured learning program, which will be much faster, right? Next thing I will say that try and avoid solo projects, because solo projects are kind of, I think somebody was asking, solo projects are possible, Manikanta Arts, but the problem is that for solo projects, only one person is working, right? And in the game industry, you have many people working. You have 50, 60, 100 people working together in a game studio. So as in a game studio, they need to know that you know how to work with other people, because basically games are not made by one person. Games are made in a team. So it's really, really helpful to actually work in a team. Solo projects are okay in the beginning. You make one or two solo projects, you can learn a little bit about game development, but in the end, solo projects don't have so much weight when it comes to getting a job. You need to show that you are part of some group projects. Okay. Next, you have to build up your game industry network. You can do this by joining some kind of course or going to game conferences, etc., going on Discord, getting to know people, right? Now, I made a meme, which is, self-explanatory. You guys can see the meme while I drink some water. Right? Self-explanatory. Hiring is on the basis of work experience and not education. Now let's talk about Pesa. I'm sure you guys want to know about Pesa. So entry level, and this is on the basis of my own students at Gamer to Maker who have gotten jobs. We've helped place them. I help them with salary negotiations, etc. I help them to kind of get into the game industry. Right. So the entry level salary can be anywhere between, we've seen from 4 lakhs to 10 lakh rupees beginning salary. Right. Then if you have, when you reach medium level, it can go 10 to 25 lakhs. And then senior studio head creatively can go 25, 50. Like we've even seen like 70 lakh rupees, 1 crore in many cases, right? With about 5 to 10 year experience, you can reach like 50, 60, 70 lakh rupees per year. And I've seen these kind of salaries this year right now for like studio or game director or creative director or, art director or programming technical lead, etc. 50 lakh rupees or so is totally possible in the game industry, right? And another thing that it's very good to have a good understanding of 360 game development, which means that you should not be just focused on your thing, right? If you are a game programmer, it's good to have a little bit of knowledge of game art. It's good to have a little bit of knowledge of game design, etc., etc. That really helps. Okay. And lastly, I'm going to leave this with you. So a lot of people are like, I'm going to love game dev on the internet. And this is most people, right? Like they make 3 solo games and they start looking for a job at a game studio. And then they don't find a job and say, oh, I made 3, like I've made like some Flappy Bird clones and I put it in my portfolio. Why am I not getting a job? Right? That's not a good idea, because game studios, they want more complex projects, they want deeper knowledge, they want deeper skills. Okay. And this is an example of a portfolio. And this should be online. A portfolio should be online. People should be able to click on your resume, go and see all your games, see what games you have made, what contribution you have made, see a little bit about your process, understand what you did for each particular game, and download your resume and everything, and I'll have all your social media links, right? So I have a YouTube video. I have several YouTube videos on portfolios. Please do go and check them out. Okay, now I think we have 10-20 minutes, and also you can find me on Instagram. You can have I have a Insta page, which is Sehgal Rahul 1. I'm also there on YouTube, and I'm also there on LinkedIn. So you guys are most welcome to add me. And we also have a Discord server. I think if you go on YouTube and you watch any of the videos, you'll be able to join the Gamer to Make a Discord server. So if you want, if you want to get in touch with me or be mentored by me, etc., these are the places that you can find me, right? There are more than 200 students in Gamer to Maker who has joined up. So you're most welcome to kind of have a look at these programs, right? So now I'm going to answer some questions. Okay, let's start going up. Okay. So Tejas, I'll answer your question first. Why are there not many studios with one Godot developers? Godot is growing greatly. So right now, Godot is not the game engine of choice. It's growing. Definitely in fact, I think I can stop sharing. Right. So Godot at this point is definitely growing as a game engine, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. However, it's not as big in India. Abroad, it's a little bit more, but in India, not very, very, very few studios are using Godot, right? It's most of the studios in India are using Unity, and a few of them are using Unreal. Okay. Product managers in a game company, game design knowledge too. I'm assuming yes, some knowledge of game design for a product manager is definitely expensive, is important, because remember that ultimately a product manager's job is paisa. A product manager's job is to make as much money as possible from the games, right? And for that, they need to be able to tweak the design of the game and understand that. Okay. Next, Manikanta is asking, so for technical artists making assets in Blender, knowing how to, yes, so you have to know the game engine. As a technical artist, you should know how to use Hello, guys. Sorry. All of us are three internet connections. All three internet connections uh, kind of went off. Are you guys still there? Ashishji, are you there? Can you hear me? Ashish, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Is the stream still on?
Yeah, it's streaming, still streaming.
Still streaming. Sorry. Yeah. So sorry about that, guys. So sorry about. Okay, so let's go back to questions, right? Let's go back to questions. In a solo, I think we talked about yes. So Nitish M is asking, what role has minimum requirements, or should I directly apply for some higher professional roles? See, it depends on a level of experience, right? It depends on what level of skill you join the game industry. Say, suppose you have good skills which you have built by attending a game course or making games in a group. You can join at a good position. You can join directly as game programmer or game artist or game designer or a junior programmer. I know people from Game Maker who have joined, they've not even finished their degree, right? They've joined a game company earning 10 lakh rupees a year, right? That's also possible because they had strong game design skills and they were able to enter that roles, right? So there are some people who have joined as testers, they go into design, etc., etc. So it all depends on what your level of skill is, right? Next is, are there any good colleges for game art? Unfortunately, there are colleges for game art in India, but when it comes to colleges, none of them I know have good reviews, right? So I can't really recommend. Abroad, of course, there are many, but in India, not so many. Next, to get into, Nani Kant is asking, to get into the industry without networks for portfolio. So that is solo project, right? No, not necessarily a solo. Even in your portfolio, ideally, you should have at least some. You should at least have some group projects, not just solo group projects. Okay. Next, bug testing is also part of game dev. It's a post production. No, bug testing is part of the game dev process. While the game is being made, the bug testing happens. The testing process happens. That's definitely a big part of it. So the testing happens simultaneously with the production of the game, right? Magma Teja is asking, how does a good game programmer's portfolio look? So please watch my video on YouTube. Is that the Magma from G2M? If it is, hi. So please look at. I have several videos on YouTube on portfolios, and in the links, I've actually given some examples. Okay, I've given them as some examples. Okay. Right. So yeah, so that's pretty much I've answered all the questions. So now if anybody else has any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Please put them in the chat. Otherwise, no, I shall end the stream soon. So once again, guys, thank you everyone for being here. I hope. Hey, it's Anirudh. How are you doing, Anirudh? Great to see you. Anirudh is one of the first Spartans from the Origins batch. Good to see you, Anirudh. So that's it, guys. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. You can join the Discord. You can join the G2M programs if you like. We are actually tied up with MESC, who's conducting this webinar. We are their partner. We are offering diploma programs and certification programs for game development, and we help you with placements also. So you're most welcome to come and join the programs, etc. And also, if you want to kind of be part of the community for free, that's fine. You can join the game Discord server. Please get in touch with me. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. Right. And how can we start gaming development courses like Mac? Now, I am not going to comment on any specific game colleges. So if you want, you can come on the Discord server and ask me. I'm not going to be commenting on specific game development courses because that's not my brief here. Dipesh, to answer your question. Okay. So yeah, I guess guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here today. It was great to have you. And I hope I was able to answer your questions on game development. Um, and so follow me, and thank you so much to Ashish. Thank you so much to MESC for facilitating this. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful session. I believe that students will grab lot many things and new insights from the game industry and pertaining to the topics. So I believe that few more workshops or webinars will become in the upcoming part. And
Absolutely. I'll be back here. I would love to be part of more Vidyadan webinars to share my knowledge and to help people join the game industry. So hopefully you'll be seeing me more often on the Vidyadan channel. So please make sure that you follow the Vidyadan channel, guys, on YouTube, and also register with MESC on their portal. They're doing some amazing work. So yeah, please support them the best you can.
thank you so much, sir. For
Thank
a
you,
great
everyone.
and please stay connected with the Vidyadan, and we will come up with some more sessions with some more industry experts. Thank you everyone for joining it up.